Yo, what's up?
Oh, hi.
Okay, thanks for hopping in here.
Thank you for having me.
Please tell people listening anything about yourself today, who you are today.
Who I am today. Uh, so many things. Okay. Well, today my name is Candy. I am an actress, author, entrepreneur, creative human being who is figuring it all out.
Lawyer?
Oh, I forgot that. Yes. Yes.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Many things. We always start kind of the same way, and it's very whatever comes to mind. What is liberation to you?
What is liberation? I think for liberation for me now is acceptance. I think you get a lot of freedom from accepting things as they are instead of trying to change or fix or move from one phase to the next phase and just be in this constant battle with what is. So acceptance has helped me feel peace a lot of the times, which helps me feel liberated.
So peace,
Mhm,
acceptance. Acceptance leads to peace,
mhm,
leads to liberation.
mhm.
What are you struggling to accept right now? I
How
know,
much time do
aggressive, aggressive out the gate.
what am I struggling to accept? To be honest, a lot of what's come to mind is there's so many ways to do one thing. And it's so difficult when you don't get a result that you want. You struggle with, like, at least for me, with figuring out, oh, if I could have done this, if I could have done that, if I could have went this direction, how would my life be? If I would have taken my time more, how would my life be? Um, and most of it, to be honest, revolves around my career. How quickly we make decisions, how quickly we say yes, how quickly we're like, okay, let's go, even for things that may not be that beneficial to us or may not be in alignment with the vision. Um,
Can
and
you explain to me so many ways to do one thing? What do you mean?
so, like, there's for us, there's so many paths to what we call success creatively, right? So I think for me in recent years, I've always had tunnel vision with how I do things. And I've had people come along my path and suggest, well, maybe. And I've been like, no, it's this way, it's this way, it's this way. And I'm not saying I was wrong in the way I did things. I do think that there's also growth in like, you know, maybe you should listen to people. So with my career, I'm finding that, we put a time on it. I don't know if you have said, okay, by this point, I want this.
Oh, I try not to do that because that's a surefire way to
Okay, yeah,
make yourself freak out.
exactly. So for me, coming from the career I had before, it's been rough to accept that I have no control of the time frame of how the success could be, of how an audition could be or not be. It's still something that I struggle with as a person to accept that I chose this career. Like, why?
Well, you
Why?
didn't. Well, yeah, you mean you did choose this career, but you chose a
Yes.
career before.
Yes.
So I guess what is that sort of journey? And like what makes you shift? What makes you go to law school, practice, and then walk away from that? Maybe you haven't walked away. Maybe it's a part of your life. Maybe it'll always be there. Yeah.
So it's similar to what we're talking about, right? I had a lot of people on my path to law school be like, well, maybe you don't need to rush into that. I'm like, yes, I do. I have to rush into it. I have to, I was very blinded with that goal, even though it wasn't what my heart wanted, right? So when I was younger, I always loved performing, putting on the plays with my family. I loved all those things. But what I heard a lot was, oh, you're going to be a great lawyer. So I just picked that up and ran with it. Okay, I'm going to be a great lawyer, not the performer. I'll be a great lawyer. And so then I kind of operated from, okay, I need to do it. I need to do it great. I need to go in that direction. Even though many times I got, like I said, people coming in and saying, you're only 20. Have some fun, slow down. You don't have to, go so fast. And I think that the culture we're in really encourages, like, hurry up, be the best, do the best, be blinded, don't enjoy life as much as you can. So when I was in law school, it was my second year, top of my class, which is a huge accomplishment to get in law school. Scholarship, never got a scholarship before. So I was really like, I'm going to be the best lawyer. And then I was running a multi-million-dollar firm, working with an amazing attorney who was like trying to teach me the ropes so I can then do what he was doing. And I just had a breakdown one day of like, I don't want to do this. I don't know how it happens for other people, but for me, it was a silent, like, not a silent, it was a soft, this is not it. This is not it. You've invested all these years of your life, but you don't have the courage to really do what you want, which was hard to hear because to go to law school, like, I don't have the courage. This is the hardest thing you can ever do, become a lawyer. Like, law school is extremely difficult. And that year, I just decided I'm going to go after what I really want. Started acting, was off Broadway within a month. And I got a little bit of the beginner's luck, like they say, which makes us a little naive of like, oh, we're always going to have momentum. Let's keep going. And so that was it. That was the shift. Now I don't practice. I didn't sit for the bar to set myself up so that I wouldn't quit being an actress, even though I've wanted to many times. I'm sure you had the thoughts. And it's been a journey since, because you can't apply the same rules for that career to this one. It doesn't necessarily translate.
I don't really like to use the word quit. I've contemplated walking away. Sure, quitting, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think so, like it's actually quite healthy that when we're driving on the side of the cliff, it's
Mm-hmm.
healthy to contemplate our own death. Like it's to look over the seaside and be like, oh my God, or like to look over the top of a building and be like, damn, if I fell, crazy. Like
Yeah.
that's not unhealthy, right?
Right.
It's actually healthy to be like, oh, I have this life and it's actually fragile, and it can sort of be gone in a minute, and it's literally can live on the edge of this thing. And so I say to any young artist, but really any entrepreneur, really any human being, it's pretty healthy to, even long-term relationships, it's not unhealthy to contemplate walking away,
Mm-hmm.
quitting. Like
Mm-hmm.
it really is just perspective. It's a moment to be like, oh, anything I care about in this life is fragile.
That is something that I've been thinking about, actually. When I feel the urge of like, I want something now, it's like I remind myself, oh, you're just excited about its unfolding. You're just eager to see it unfold. So being able to, it is a spiritual experience to be an artist because of the path and the journey. And to take care of your mental health, you really have to be aware of the things you attach to and why, you know?
Yeah, I think being an artist is like it's a great blessing. And obviously I'm a little obsessed with being an artist, and I'm obsessed with art and art making. But I
Mhm.
also want to encourage anyone who's listening, like, to be alive is a spiritual experience. And I
Mhm.
don't mean like go find God, go to a Catholic church, like go to Buddhism. I just mean like there is, if you made it from A to B today, is pretty epic. Like the amount of things that had to go right in order for you to just wake up this morning is pretty crazy.
Mhm.
It's astonishing.
Mhm.
And I think that's more the storyteller in me who likes to, I like to turn the ordinary into the extraordinary,
Mhm.
and very easily it's too simple to just think of our life as like another day and
So
another
easy.
thing.
So easy, especially being goal oriented. It's like, okay, let's pull up the list today. What are we checking off the list today? And how close is that getting us to tomorrow's? So with art, it's, you can check off and check off and check off. There's still going to be inspiration and a million things you want to do. So it's not the same.
I like to say like a goal inherently says that where we are is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not anti goal setting, but I am pro intimacy with why we set goals and where we're going and what we care about and how we want to feel in the moment.
Mhm.
Can we go back to the silent whisper, or maybe it was a normal whisper? I
Yeah, I'm
don't
like
know.
silent. I can't be
Like,
silent if I heard it.
um, yeah. What is that? What's it feel like? Is this in one day? Is this a year? Is this bad sleep?
Mhm.
Um, is it irritability? What is it?
So before I received that message and felt that feeling in my body of like, this is really in the wrong direction, I had been meditating for a year and journaling for a year. I had to break up my first year of law school. That caused me to be like, okay, let me read and just figure out who I want to become. Like, why is this breakup so hard for me? And then I just started to be more in tune with myself, more in tune with my real desires, right? Because as painful as that breakup was, that was not a relationship I genuinely wanted. It was something that I said, okay, it's there. Let me put a band-aid on it, put a band-aid on it, put a band-aid on it. And hopefully it'll bring me something versus my heart, what I really wanted or who I really wanted to be with. So the same thing started to happen with my career. I started to think about like, okay, I'll be done in 3 years. I'll be in a multi-million-dollar firm. I'll be successful. Great. And is that going to make me happy? And so that question that I heard a lot before that point from lawyers, by the way, I was working at the Bronx DAs and most of them were like, just don't, you're young. Think of other things you want to do. And I'm like, yeah, no. They're like, there's so many reasons why we wouldn't rush into this. And so it was just taking a really hard look at why I was doing it. What was I trying to prove by sticking to this plan? And so I didn't quit. I graduated and I'm proud I graduated. And I think it makes me a better actor because, not to compare too much, but an audition versus a law school exam is a completely different experience. So it built a lot of character in me that now I can use it for life, to be honest, not just as an artist, just life in general. So it was over time that I definitely felt it's time to do what I really desire.
And if you were to, I think there are whisperings in us all the time. Like, I don't want to call them whisperings of discontent. I think there's whisperings of motivation, whisperings. I think there are just whisperings, and it takes a bit of courage to listen to them. Like, my favorite line, top 5 line of any book is in a short story called Aurora by Juno Diaz.
Mhm.
And there's a line in there that says, I know cats who wake up one day, smell something, and change their whole life.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
this line changed my life because I always wanted to be one of those people who had the courage to wake up and smell something and change my life.
Mhm.
So I think, like, first you have to know change is actually quite a positive thing. Change is happening all the time, whether you want it to or not, and it's
Mhm.
a positive thing to build a healthy relationship with.
Mhm.
Um, but then also, to quote Lauryn Hill, God gave us a steering wheel for a reason.
Mhm.
Sometimes we got to turn left, sometimes we got to turn right, sometimes we got to stop the car and get out. And so my question to you is, to anyone who's hearing whisperings, or maybe not hearing whisperings, or maybe gently feeling the whisperings of change, what are ways you think they can honor them, respect them? Because some changes, and often big changes like that, aren't easy. Like, walk away from a steady paycheck, not easy. Walk away from a partner, not easy. Walk towards something, not easy. So what
Mhm.
are some of the things you might imagine can help people
I
sell
think
something and
that
change their whole life?
I think it's very important to, as you mentioned, change is constant. So the quicker you become comfortable with making the change, the better your life will be, in the sense that you won't take what is perceived as a bad change, and you'll be able to handle all types of changes. That's what I mean. In terms of like, okay, you grow through it all. So the best way is through, right? And I think if you are thinking about making a change, don't think about the bigger picture so much. It's just one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. Because if you do think about the bigger picture, you probably will be overwhelmed with fear of the unknown. Because most of the time, what's difficult about change is that you're comfortable. You can be comfortable in things you don't like. as much as you complain about them, some people, you have a belief that makes you comfortable in whatever circumstance you're in. So change for me is just an opportunity for the universe to show me how good it can get and to show me who I'm becoming. I know I'm becoming new with this change. I'm going through a lot of changes right now. And my perspective is I can't wait to see who I'm becoming. I know that this is for the betterment of me, of my spirit, of my soul, of my life. I know that this change is only going to bring me good. As difficult as it may seem in the moment, getting fired from a job, it seems like, oh my God, my world is ending, but there's probably a better opportunity for you somewhere else, right? That your soul is calling you to. So the whisper, like we mentioned, is a calling of like, don't ignore what that calling is, but try to take it just one step at a time because you're new. In change, we become new, and there's vulnerability in being new. I remember, I got my economics degree in 3 years, my master's in 2. And then at law school, I was like 25, something like that. And then acting, the first time I got in front of a class, I couldn't even speak. My voice was shaking, my body was sweating, and I'm like, oh my God, this feels so uncomfortable. I feel so vulnerable. And that's only because it was new. Now, almost 10 years later, it's a completely different experience. So just knowing that with change, where you're going is better than where you are. So just allowing yourself to flow to that place, I think is a good perspective to have throughout the process.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Go for it.
Because we said that, we kind of both agreed for a second that like goals are can be dangerous because they inherently say where you are is not enough. And yet sometimes we want more. And then there's this rhetoric that where you're going is better than where you are.
Yes.
And so I really do believe liberation is not a place we arrive to. It's a place we accept. It's a place, the arriving is here, the returning. It's actually a place we return to, not a place we arrive to. Like we return to this moment. And so maybe it's not, for me, maybe it's not like where you are is better than where you're going is better than where you are. But maybe it's where you're going can be aligned.
Yeah, when I say better, I mean, example, when I was leaving my legal career, I was doing really good, but I wasn't happy. So when you think about, I could stay here and I can be very comfortable, or I could live the life that I'm seeing through my vision and I'm feeling, and I'm like, visualizing what it would feel like. So kind of like crossing the bridge. You have to cross the bridge. And while you're walking on that bridge, it's going to be a mess. It's going to hurt. It's going to be painful. You're going to have times where you collapse, where you can't make it to the other end. But if you think like, okay, at least this transformation that is calling me, I'll be better for it. So maybe better for it, for taking the change, maybe. That's a better way to say it.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know.
It's similar to the goal setting. I agree. It sounds like that place is better than here. So I have to, it's kind of that, but not. But as bad, goal setting, I think the most important thing, and I wrote about this in my book, is your why. It's just why. Why? Ask yourself over and over. Okay, I want to be an actor. Why? I love to perform. Why? Oh, because it feels great. Why? And that, I think, helps you have a healthier relationship with whatever goals you set.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have an answer here. I think it's all part of the medicine of liberation. Like at the end of the day, something I've been thinking about a lot is we are the meaning makers in our lives. Like what all we really do all day is sprinkle meaning dust over our whole life.
Yes.
Like, we use terms like, time takes time, or like, you'll be better on the other side. It's all just narratives we create as medicine for ourselves. And sometimes this medicine propels us forward, and sometimes this medicine, like in a breakup, it's like either like, that piece of shit, or like good riddance. Like I'm so much better
Yeah.
without them.
Which, by the way, you need some of that. You need all of it, I guess, right? You need, especially with healing, you need a little bit of the rage, I think, to heal. You need a little bit of the ambition to go. So similarly, yeah.
Yeah, in the Dharma they say nothing is wasted.
Mm.
Like nothing is wasted. It's this people have heard me talk about the word Mahamudra. I have like the symbol tattooed on my body. Like, it's everything.
Mhm.
Like, the liberation doesn't exclude things. It doesn't
Mhm.
exclude your bad attitude in the morning. It doesn't exclude that you're jealous of this person, who you call your friend. Like, it actually includes that.
Mhm.
Like, everything is included, the piss and the shit,
Mhm.
like the
Mhm.
beauty and the joy, like the desires you don't share with anybody, and then the desires you share publicly.
Mhm.
Like, um we get closer to liberation when we stop excluding things and we start to include, and
Mhm.
realize that it's all a part of the package.
Mhm.
It all comes everywhere with us, so like you don't leave being a lawyer. Like, it's everywhere,
Mhm.
in your marrow, it's in your blood,
Mhm.
uh, as is that little girl, as is all the traumas and the shit and the blah 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 blah.
Which, as you're mentioning that, I think a good way for anyone to be like, well, what does that mean? If we go back to when we were kids, certain emotions were celebrated and certain emotions were not, right? So
Okay.
when you were happy, it's like, oh my gosh, she's so cute. When you had a tantrum, it was like, if you don't shut up,
Oh yeah.
right? You don't shut up. So I think that it's understanding, like going back to that and accepting all of it, accepting the tantrum, accepting the happiness, accepting that today you don't feel your best, accepting that you are a brat today, just all of it, I think, comes down to the conditioning we had as kids and the domestication that then as adults we try to domesticate ourselves. I was like, no, you're not allowed to be upset about this today. you know Feel good. You have to feel good, especially in this positive new world. Well, it's not really new, but it's like, be happy, be grateful. Well, you know what, today's just not the day. Sometimes it's like that. So yeah.
To all my parents listening who are like, because I know their parents were like, yeah, well, sometimes this little fucker's got to put on his shoes. Like,
Yeah, it's
he
not easy.
he can't just keep playing around.
Yeah.
Um, I understand that too. That's kind of my favorite thing. I think, like, we all think we're gonna be these kinds of parents who are like, I don't know, validate all my kids'
Yeah, no,
feelings.
no,
I
no.
don't let them, and then sometimes it's just like, I need to get out the fucking house,
Yeah.
and you need to get dressed and come with me.
Mhm.
Um, so also navigating that as well. I think what I like about, and maybe, as a lawyer, well, maybe not, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess lawyers are kind of like, you win or you lose. But what I think I like about liberation, not what I think I like, what I know I like about liberation is that it's not clear. And that's why it's so difficult, because
You like that about liberation.
I love it,
I
because yeah, that's the hard work. It's because
don't.
it's already here.
Yeah, it's hard work. I'm like, give me a clear plan. What is the definition and how do I get there? With clarity, black or white. I'm liberated or not right now.
Yeah, it's all here, and it's not that. That's why it can never be sold to you, right? Like, and all these books that try and sell you happiness, if they worked, we would be happy.
Mhm.
Self-help is $1 billion business, and when we still haven't been helped, and the community is still suffering, and it's because it's something that can't be sold to you.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
it and they will try and commodify peace, but you can't sell peace.
Mhm.
um as I always say, if the things sold to you were actually designed to fill you up, don't you think you'd be full by now?
Mhm. Mhm. No, it's true. It's true.
And so we have to be okay with a little of this ambiguity, and with a little of this, like,
Mhm.
oh, I have to. I have to be present, but also I have to sort of make goals, or I can't
Right.
just sit in my house all day, but also I got to do this, and
Mhm.
that's the dance. And you dance, you're a great salsa dancer, and
I
it's
try.
a lot like it's listening.
It
It's more
is.
listening than anything else.
It is. I've been acting for almost 10 and I've had my business for 7. And every time someone says, well, where do I start? I was like, what answer do I want to give today? The traditional answers: have a business plan, go after your passion, the traditional things that people say. But at the end of the day, it's about listening. Every day, listening, taking the time to listen to yourself, to listen to the people that you provide a service for or sell to, whatever the case is. And like I mentioned before, just one foot in front of the other. That's what listening is. I heard somewhere, if God told you how you were going to get where you're dreaming of, you would have said, no, I'm not doing that. Right. If we knew the whole
Yeah.
picture.
Mhm.
I know for me, if at 20, you said, I'm going to do 9 years of school and then start acting, I'd be like, no, we're going to do it now. we're not going down that path. Or that when I started my business, that it would be the way that it is, I probably would have said, I'm okay. I'll just get a day job until I become successful. So the daily listening is really the key to feeling good about what you're doing.
Hmm. Yeah, daily listening. I like that. Yeah, listen, listen, listen. And no one really teaches us how to listen,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy because we do want everyone's attention. Like we all want everyone to listen to us, especially in this social media age where we're like begging for people's ears and eyes, and selling ourselves constantly. Uh, but what does it really mean to listen, and to listen to ourselves and to that whisper? I think
Mm-hmm.
that's like my big take from this is there are whispers inside us all the time. And what does it mean to give them space
Mm-hmm.
and to let them take space in our body,
Mm-hmm.
and to not shove them down and ignore them?
Yeah, I think all of it comes back to childhood and when the emotions, what you were told about your emotions, what you were told about your desires is going to be easier to listen or not. If when you said, hey, I want to have purple hair, someone said, no, that's stupid, you're like, ugh, was it a bad idea? Maybe I shouldn't express what my idea is. So, a lot of it comes, for me, a lot of my healing work has come through that inner discovery of like, ooh, where does that come from for me? Why don't I want to shine bright and be my big personality that I like to be? What is it what story or what did I hear that made me change who I was? Why didn't I go after acting? I was very ambitious, by the way, as a kid. I remember telling people I was going to be president of the United States.
Okay, use it.
I was like, I'm going to be president. And everyone's like, oh, you go, girl. You will. Good luck to you. So now even seeing what we're seeing is so inspiring because I'm like, wow, I thought that was so impossible.
Mm,
I thought that was so outrageous to say that.
yeah.
So just honoring through meditation, through journaling. Journaling is really big for me. That's when I am able to tune in the most. Just free writing, I get a lot of ideas and things that way.
I think it's that's where I do think parenting or community. Maybe it's not even parenting, whatever word serves you, but uh little I was gonna say little people, young ones, like when we come out this into this world, um we do want to be these sort of larger things sometimes, oftentimes, not all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And can we create spaces where that sort of dreaming can be encouraged and not diminished?
Mm-hmm.
I often say my biggest blessing is that my parents were said no to a lot. They were said no pretty consistently to. And when they had children, they basically said, we will be better than our parents.
Mm-hmm.
Like we will say yes more than we say no.
Mm-hmm.
We will let our children explore their desires in a safe way.
Mm-hmm.
And that single-handedly felt like a really big blessing. Like that's a lot of my life. It's just like me saying like I want to do something and then being like, okay.
Yeah,
Like,
when it's a good
fine.
idea, depending on the okay there. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Or yes.
You know, so I just got a lot of that. I just got a lot of like, yeah, I'm gonna try and not say no to you, unless it's something ridiculously stupid,
Right.
or dangerous.
Hmm.
And so that feels like a really big blessing. Shout out to mom and pops.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh,
do you,
that is a beautiful blessing
yeah,
because it gave you the space to be comfortable with your ideas when you express them and when you did them. You do embody a certain like, I'm just gonna do it. Like that's
yeah.
kind of your energy is very like, yeah, we're just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna ask. I'm just gonna go. Let's go.
Oh, I'd love to
You
ask.
know, you don't have true, you don't have the when I went to your play, I'm like, oh my God, this is like intense. Like, how is he doing this? Like the things that you're talking about here is a little controversial. And, I'm like, how is he not scared? But you just embody of like, let's just go. And no overconfidence. It's just a steady, is steady the word? Or like, kind of like, you see how statues are firm, obviously. They don't, like, they embody the groundedness that you need to go after your desires and to go after what your goals are. It's not this I'm going to be the greatest person who ever did this show. And it's going to be it's more of like, let me give you this offering. I'm giving it to you with love and with confidence and enjoy it. That's what it feels like.
Received. Just gonna receive. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Do you, as we start to wrap up on liberation talk, do you have any questions for me?
I always have
More
questions.
thoughts on liberation?
I always have questions for you, don't I? I think that my question to you, seeing all the work that you do, what would you say brings you what's your intention to bring you towards this work every single day? What is your mantra that helps you keep going?
Mm. This worked, I guess, what being my life, being
I think, yeah, being your life, being the work that you do, the writing that you put out, your books, your art, just who you are as a person. I think you embody a lot of what you work on. So what is it that keeps you going, the mantra?
I mean, I guess the first word that came to mind at this moment, you asked me tomorrow, it might be a different answer, but in this moment, it's curiosity.
Mm.
Uh, I'm a curious person, and to return to my parents, they didn't put the kibosh on my curiosity. Uh,
That's pause on that. That's huge.
yeah, and that curiosity has stayed with me, and uh, I go to the things I'm curious about. I go towards the things I'm curious about, and that has served me in this life. And I go towards the things that I love. And I love making art. Like I like art. I love art making so much, and I love the Dharma so much. And so, and like I go towards these things that bring me joy. Um,
So do you find joy in the challenges of the things that bring you joy?
Yeah, no, maybe not. Like, I mean, challenges are hard. Challenges are hard, and I'm getting better maybe at just receiving them not as challenges, just as a part of the practice, right? Everything is included.
Mm.
Um, I think that's why I practice, because it's everything is included. Like, it's not yes or no, this or that. It's all part of the process. And I don't know that I'm so tapped in, tuned in, turned on that like I'm like challenge, yes, like this is fucking hot. Um, like I'm not there yet. I would love if things were a little easier sometimes.
Right, same.
That would be super cool.
Mhm.
If I just had like someone funding my life. I would love that. If anyone's listening and would like to fund my life,
Any investors?
yeah, if anyone wants to just, be my patron for art
Right.
making, I will take it. But but yeah, I go towards my curiosity and what brings me joy. And there are shitty days, and that's part of it. The healing is in the returning. It's something I've been thinking about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The healing is in the returning, and returning to what we love, returning to what we know, returning to our communities, returning to our breath.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in the idea. You will never heal if you think you never should have wandered to begin with, or if you beat yourself up for about how you should have got it right 6 years ago or 3 years ago, or if I knew what I knew, if I knew them, if I know now what I knew then, if I knew then what I knew now. Like, the healing is in the returning.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's why I start my mornings every day by sitting, is because it's a way to return
Mm-hmm.
to this moment. And then I can be like, what am I curious about now?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I was going to ask you, that was my next question. We all start our days with a question. We all do. And so, depending on what that question is, you'll see your day unfold with that question. So, I was going to ask at the beginning of your day, what is the question that you ask yourself for the universe to answer?
wow, I never thought of it like that. That's a
Yeah.
good point. That's a good. I can say, let's see what this is early in the week. What will be my question this week? Um, and I do like questions. I like think questions are more important than answers. Okay, my question this week will be uh on the spot.
Mm.
My question this week will be uh how can I be more playful
Mm,
this week? Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. Which ties into how you kind of started this, because you were like, there's more than one way to do something,
mhm,
and I'd say there's like a billion. And so I think if I play more, then
mhm,
I can start to even break molds even more.
mhm.
Um, yeah. Do you know Dr. Gabor Mate?
Yes.
Cool cat. Super cool.
Mhm.
Uh, and
Yes,
Dr.
yes, yes, yes. He talks about the trauma, obviously, but I heard from the first time for him how ADHD is just unprocessed trauma, and I was like, Psh, everybody needs to know about this.
Yeah, he's cool. So Dr. Gabor said, he said, I think if I got to redo this life again, I would do it differently. He said, I think I would play more.
Mm,
He said, I accomplished a lot, but I'm not sure I played a lot. And this is something I think about in my life a lot
mhm,
at this phase is I've accomplished things. How much have I played?
mhm,
You know, and I, and play is joy. It feels good to laugh. It feels
mhm.
good to laugh till your tummy hurts, and and I want to trust that in playing we can also accomplish.
Right.
Um, and so maybe
Well,
that's my
I'd love
question.
to let me know what the answer was this week.
Yeah.
What opportunities came up for you to play? Because that's why I'm very mindful of what I ask in the morning. Because usually I get an answer right away that day,
And you do the question weekly or every day?
every day. That's what
What
my
was
meditation
today's?
is about. My meditation is about show me, or I'll
What was
ask.
today's question?
Today's question was literally, God, show me. It was about how can I learn to accept this more. X. I'm getting out of my center. Show me how I can accept this more to return, ironically, to me. I'm feeling out of touch with me. Show me. It's simple. Go to this coffee shop and sit here and enjoy that chai latte. That's simple. That's simple. And for that moment, I had acceptance. So that's why I love the question. I just love them. Be like, God, how do you want me to get this done? Someone will call, hey, I have an answer. I'm like, thank you, done. So it's like my communication with God every day.
And on that note, may we accept what we can when we can. May we play more, and may we make space to listen.
Mm.
Thanks.
Thank you. That was a perfect summary of everything we said.
It's one of my
That was
superpowers.
great. That was literally like, these are the 3 points.